Hey everyone, in this video I want to show you or demonstrate to you what I've been working on in terms of creating a flow manager instead of an actual task manager. And the flow manager kind of works like REIFlow just for tasks at this point, that you can go in, create the trigger, run if, and a task item to set up REIFlow to automatically create a task that you want to do for certain instances. So let me just jump in and I'll show you how it works. So we go to the REIFlow.com user dashboard. After you've logged in, you come here, then you go down to flows. And I have one set up here, but we'll add a new one, say new flow. Excuse the look of it, and still that's the last thing in the design process, is the actual overall look. But we have here for a new flow, I defaulted right now to set up the details. Step 1, which is a get item, which this action gets the Podio item that has triggered the flow. This can't be deleted or modified. This happens every time. And then finally we have a create task flow item or action. As you'll see, we'll be able to add some other flow items and action items in the middle. But first, let's create this. Create task for new website leads. Create task to call new website leads. Create task. So we want to trigger it. This is going to be the trigger section. So we want to say, when a new lead comes into the apps lead, the leads app, on the trigger of item.create, where you can do update or delete. And then we'll enable this. So now the first thing this flow is going to do is pull in the item that got created. Now we don't want to run this flow for every item that gets created, only ones that come in that have a marketing source of website. So what we have to do is do a run if type. We got to add the action run if after step 1, add item. So now we have the run if action. So we want to say the field, we want to check the field marketing source on the apps, the leads app. So we select the app, now we select the field marketing source, use that, click off here to get rid of it, and we're going to say equals website. Now this has to match exactly casing and all, uppercase W, and then website after that. Now this last mark is, make sure you check this to let REIFlow know that the item has changed from the last time that it was updated, or in this case created, so it's always changed, but keep this selected, or else if this was an update flow, then it may get triggered every time because this value equals website every time. So if you update another field, that value still equals website, it would run. So if you check this, then it checks the previous value of that field from the last update, and if it has changed, then it runs the flow. If it has not, then it does not run the flow. Okay, so now we have the run if. That if marketing source is website, then we run this flow to create the task. Now in this task, I want to demonstrate creating a variable, because we want to create a variable for the due date, because we want to set up the task to be created or due on the next day that the lead was generated. So what we have to do is create a variable. We'll add this after step 2, after the run if. So here's the variable, call this due date. It's a date type field. The value, the initial value that we'll pull in will be from the leads app and the date originated. So we'll use that. Now this formatting is for the merge fields. So this will be merged in when you run the flow to the current date originated for that lead, for every lead that comes in. Now we want to modify this date. So we want to modify, we want to add some days to it. We'll add 1 day. So we want to create the lead that's due 1 day from the date the lead came in. All right, so now we have the variable set up for due date. We can select the due date. So we click select field, go to the flow variables, and now select due date. Click off. Now the time, you can put in anything you want. I'll just set up 1 p.m. We'll assign this to me. This is my Podio ID number. I still have to come up with a way to populate this with all the users in your Podio system or in your REIFlow system, but I'll figure that out. That's the last step. And task subject, call website lead, and we can add in a merge field here just for example. So we'll select field, select the properties app and the address, add that in there. So now this will be merged with the property app address field, and you'll get that information on your task lead. And this is a sample task. You can also make this recurring by clicking there, and our task flow is set up. So we save it. Now let's go test it out. Hopefully this works. All right, so we'll add a new lead. Okay, now we'll come down here and adjust the marketing source to website, because that's our trigger field. And let's save the lead and watch the task get created. So we have the property, the contact, and now here's the task that gets created. So we'll click into that. And you can see that the due date is 1 day from today. There's the 28th. Due date for this task is the 29th. Assigned to Scott. This is a sample task. And there. Now you'll notice that there was no property information, no property address pulled in. That is because our lead, when we first created it, does not have a property here, because this property record gets auto-generated, a blank one gets put here when you save at first. Now this won't be the case if you get a lead from your website, because the way it works is the property lead gets created and the contacts lead gets created, or the contacts record, and then the leads app gets created linked to the property and the contact, so the property address will be put in place where it should be. Sorry for the bad example on that, but that's how that'll work. It's just the order of operations when adding something manually. To get around that, you would possibly set your trigger up to be an update trigger. Save that. Come back here and let's add a property. Call this 605 Brook Hollow Drive. All right, so now the property address is added. Now if I come back here, go click the marketing source off of website, you see the flow doesn't run. Now if I click on website, the flow should run and a task should be created like that. Well, that didn't exactly work the way I hoped, but you get the idea on what the flow system, the flow management, you get the idea of how the flows will work on REIFlow and how you can set them up, change them, modify them. So down here you can delete it here, you can disable it by unchecking here, but let's leave it active. Come back here and I have another flow here that has some more variables set, the due date, the address field, description, and what have you. So that's it. I hope you can see the power that this can turn into later on as I turn it into more of a flow system instead of a task creation tool. I mean, instead of having an output of create task, we can have an output of create an item update an item, send an email, send an API request to say a mail service, click to mail, or some of the other popular ones. Can't remember at this point. So yeah, I mean, I would love to hear your ideas, your comments on this. I still have a little bit of work to do to add some usability features, like the selecting of the user to assign to right here, and some other bugs I gotta work out. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to sharing this feature with you in the future. Thank you.